Hey YouTube, Mark here. I'm in my kitchen again doing another cooking video, and this is a dish that you've seen me have in the past, but you've never actually seen me prepare it. So this time I'm actually going to prepare the dish, and that is beef tongue tacos. Alright, now that most of you, I hope, have stuck around to actually watch this, if you think that eating a beef tongue is going to be something weird and bizarre and gross, and think of it this way. When you go to your fancy steakhouse, or you go to McDonald's and you get your burger, what is that meat that you're eating? It's a cow. It's a steer. Okay? All those cuts come from the muscles of that animal, that cow, that steer, ox, I don't care what you want to call it. What is a tongue? It's a muscle. Okay? It just happens to go in your mouth, that's all. Alright, I got one. It's in there all the time. You know, maybe if I had a little onion and garlic to it, maybe it would taste better. But what I'm getting at, a tongue is just another muscle. Okay? Don't sit there and go, you can't eat that, that's gross. No, it's not. Okay, if you like pot roast, a tongue is going to be the best pot roast you've ever had. And in fact, you can actually just take this recipe, boil it off like I'm going to show you, slice it up, maybe about 1/4 to 1/2 inch thick, and have yourself a slice of pot roast. It really is that good. Okay, so anyway, we're going to do it taco style tonight, and I've got everything all laid out, and I'm just going to show you. The ingredients are simple. It does take, sorry, that big noise is my refrigerator. It's been doing it for a while. But I got my tongue sitting out. I got all my ingredients sitting out. I'm going to show you exactly what it takes. It's not a lot of ingredients at all, mainly because it's just a time thing. Okay, it does take 4, maybe even 6 hours depending on the size of the beef tongue you have. So let me show you what you got. And in fact, I'm going to do a double recipe because we like it that much. Alright, let's get into this. Okay, to start off with, I got my largest stock pot here. I would say that's probably close to 6 quart size. I got a 1/2 gallon of chicken stock, just homemade chicken stock. I got 2 onions, just halved. I got about 3 carrots, just cut up in, I would say, 1.5 to 2 inch segments. 3 bay leaves, and about 4 cloves of garlic. And of course, I've got 2 beef tongues here. This one's pretty good size, and this one's a little bit smaller, but this is going to be really good. Okay, this cannot get any simpler, okay? Take your tongue, put it in the pot. Well, look at that, they fit nice down there. Almost like it was made for a pot. Gonna take my onions, just throw them in. Carrots, throw them in. Bay leaves, throw them in, and all the garlic. There, wasn't that easy? Alright, now we're going to take the chicken stock. I know it's kind of weird that I'm using chicken stock instead of beef stock, but this is the way we've done it, so that's the way I'm going to do it. As this simmers and goes down in volume, I'll have my other one standing by just to add it and bring that liquid content up. Alright, I'm just going to turn the burner on high. Alright, I'm just going to bring that up to a boil. Once it hits the boil, I'm just going to turn the heat down and just let it simmer all day long. I'll come back every so often just to see how it's doing, making sure that I'm not losing too much liquid to evaporation. But if I do, I've got more chicken stock. Yeah, I like going, when we do this, I like having it going before 10 o'clock, and it's like 10 to 10, so this is perfect because once it gets cooked, with the amount of meat I have in there, I'm going to go shoot for the 6-hour mark. So that means it should be ready right around 4. I'm going to take it out of the broth, just let it sit on a cutting board for a little while to cool down. And then this is the part that people really hate, is that there's a skin on there, and it's a very thick skin, and it's just chewy and undesirable. You've got to pull that skin off. That's the part about this whole thing that people don't like. Okay, it didn't take long. It's already up to a boil. I'm just now going to turn it down to medium low, just to bring it down to a simmer. Alright, that's a good simmer right there. I don't want it any more violent than that, and I don't want it anything less than that. So, leave that now for the next 6 hours. Okay, so I've decided that I'm going to make a homemade salsa with my tongue tacos. Typically, I don't do this. Normally, I would just add some chopped cilantro and some cheese. And that's it. That's all I usually do for my tongue tacos. But for sake of the video, I thought, instead of just watching me throw together a bunch of ingredients into a pot, I'd actually show you some actual cooking here. Actual chopping and slicing and stuff like that. So let me show you what I got here. I got a little pile of cilantro here, just kind of off screen. I got 1 onion, a couple of Roma tomatoes, just a regular chili pepper, a couple of limes, and a couple of cloves of garlic minced up. I've also got a little salt. Now you can add other things. You can add a little sugar to it to kind of tone down the acids of the tomato. You could add like chili powder or cumin or something like that. I usually don't find that stuff necessary. I like just a good organic flavored salsa. Not a whole lot of other spices and herbs thrown in. Alright, so let's get going here. I'm going to start with an onion. And I'm going to grab my garbage can real quick and bring it over. I typically peel down 1 layer past the dry skin on an onion. I'm actually thinking too that for the amount of salsa I'm going to want to make, I only need half an onion. I don't need the whole onion. Throw the onion in here. So there's my onion. Now I'm going to do my tomato. A lot of people, for some reason, they don't take out the stem, and I don't know why. It's not that hard to do. And it's just just a hard little nugget. So I'm actually going to take mine off. I hate going to restaurants nowadays and you get tomato on the side or on your burger or anything like that, and I get the end piece here and it still has the damn stem in it. It's like, come on people, stop being so damn lazy and take out the frickin' stem. Technically this would be easier with a paring knife, but I can do it just fine without it. Alright. Now if you don't want your salsa to be too runny and too liquidy, that didn't cut all the way through. You can take this jellied stuff in the middle, you can actually take that out. But I want a little juice with my salsa, so I'm going to leave it in for now. Alright, so I sliced them a long way. I'm going to slice them the long way again. And then chop. Do the same thing again. And again, just chop them up. People are probably yelling at me, don't pick up your cut stuff with your knife like that in your hand. I've been doing it that way for, what, 30 years now? I've never had an issue. If you don't trust your cutting skills, then yeah, don't do it my way. Do it your way. The chop doesn't have to be real precise when you're making a salsa. Some pieces can be thick and some of the pieces can be thin. Some can be a bigger chunk. It doesn't matter. I am going to do my third tomato. Now, if you don't feel comfortable doing multiple layers like I am, you can just do it one layer at a time. And now I'm going to do my little chili pepper here. Also, the stuff that creates the heat in a chili pepper, it can really get underneath your fingernails and be very annoying. So you might want to wear gloves for this. But I am going to take out the membrane and the seeds. That's all this right here. This is basically where most of the heat is located. You know, so if you want less heat, take them out. If you want more heat, leave them in. You could also use a spoon and just scoop them out if that's the way you would prefer. Now for these, I'm going to want a thinner dice than what I've got there. So I'm going to go very, very thin. And again, I could switch over to my larger chef knife to to do this, but since I have the small one in my hand, I will use it. And again, if even taking out the membrane and the seeds and it's still too hot for you, only use half the chili. Don't use the whole thing. But I am. Now I am going to go wash my hand. Alright, after I did the chilies, I just washed up my hands real good, wiped down my board, and kind of cleaned up a little bit. Now I'm going to do a little cilantro, but I don't want to do this whole tray. I only want maybe 3 or 4 good sprigs. The rest of this I'm actually going to chop up later and have, because remember I told you I like to have just chopped cilantro and cheese on my tongue tacos. So I'm just going to keep this set aside. I'll chop that up just for an added topping. You don't want the big stems, so just kind of go on. You know, you don't want stems that look like that. So I'm just taking off basically the smaller leaves and leaving the big stem. There we go, now it's focused. Leaves that look like this, you don't need to use it, okay? Just throw them out. To me, cilantro is not an ingredient you can pass up when you're making salsa. It's just, the flavor compounds of salsa are just so dramatic that you just can't leave it out. Like I said, if you wanted to add, you know, if you put in chili powder and you don't have chili powder that day, that's fine. You can leave that out. But cilantro, no. Always have cilantro in your salsa. Alright, get rid of all my little sticks here. And this isn't going to be a sophisticated cut either. It's just chop it up. Go one way, turn it around, go the other way. Back the other way. And there you go. That's all you gotta do to chop cilantro. It doesn't have to be anything pretty or sophisticated, just chop it up. Alright, then I'll also add my garlic. Now, for video's sake, I had these limes sitting out. Again, this is something I like to have squeezed on my taco. I didn't mention it before, but yeah, a fresh squeezed lime on my tongue taco is what I love. So I'm actually going to save all 3 of my limes for actual slices to squeeze the juice out later. But I want lime juice in my salsa. So I have maybe a couple of teaspoons, maybe close to a tablespoon of just a bottled lime juice. It's better than nothing. Alright, let's just give all this a stir. The flavors will meld and mingle and get better as it sits. And I am going to add, don't tell Jen, I'm going to add just maybe a pinch and a half of salt. You like that? Just a little jelly jar. Just that's why we keep our kosher salt in. Now adding the salt is going to start pulling out the juices out of the tomatoes and onions and stuff. So this is where it's going to start getting really watery. Alright, I'm just going to stick that in the refrigerator with a little foil or a little plastic wrap over the top, and that's it. I'm not going to tell you what brand of wrap this is, but I'm very glad I have it. Alright, so I'm just going to put this in the refrigerator. Okay, it's been about, 3 hours now. And as you can see, everything's looking well. Okay, like I said before, for my tacos, the way I like it is just with cilantro and the crumbled cheese, and then I'll squeeze some lime juice on it. Well, I've already cut up the limes; those are ready to go. And this is the cheese that you use, queso fresco, and you just crumble this apart and just sprinkle it on your taco. Now, queso fresco is a very unique cheese in that it's pretty much meltless. You can put this in a broiler and it will not melt. It'll just start to kind of brown. So yeah, it's a unique cheese, but it's a very good cheese, and it's very authentic to having good Mexican tacos. It's kind of a redundant thing to say, a Mexican taco. I've never seen an Italian taco. So just open up the package. And just start crumbling it apart. And as you can see, a lot of these pieces are really big, but I'm not done with it just yet. Right now I'm just trying to get it into smaller, manageable pieces, and then you just kind of pick everything up, just kind of roll it around in your hand. Pick up a few more pieces, and again, just roll it around. There, I think that looks pretty good. Now I just gotta clean up my mess. Okay guys, it's coming up on 2:30, so the tongues have been cooking for approximately 4.5 hours, and I actually think that they're done. The skin is starting to loosen up off of it, so I'm going to pull them out now. I'm going to set them on my cutting board here. and just let them cool down, because if I start trying to pull that skin off now while it's still hot, of course it'll just burn my fingers. So snag the little carrot. All right, that looks really good. Now, of course, the stock that's still left in here, you can actually strain it out if you wanted to do some more. You can save it and freeze it and reuse it, but at least drain off all the solids first. That way, you know, you just have the stock, and then yeah, you can just reuse that again on your next tongue boil. But as you can see, now that's cooled off a little bit, I can handle it. And that skin is just pulling off real nice and easy. Like I said, this is the part that most people think is disgusting. But it's not that bad. See, look at that. Already done the first one. It wasn't that bad. I don't have to take it off if I don't want to. It's almost like a I don't know, kind of like a fat layer or something. And speaking of fat, that's where all the fat is in this layer here. You can see how gelatiny that is. Alright, but that's one done already. Whew, that is still hot. There. Now all this just gets thrown away. Alright, now that we got the skin off, I am just going to let this sit here for a little while longer, cool down even more, and then we'll get into cutting it. Okay, the tongue's cooled down enough I can handle it without burning myself. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start cutting this up in more manageable sized pieces. And we're just going to start slicing, dicing. As you see, it's just so tender, it's just falling apart. So if you've heard rumors that cow tongue is really, you know, heavy, or that it's chewy or anything like that, don't believe it. Now the back of the tongue is a lot fattier than the front part of the tongue, so it gets a little slimy to hold and stuff like that. But I tell you, the back of the tongue to me tastes the best because it's got all that fat. And one thing I learned in culinary class is fat is flavor. So if you don't have fat in your food, whether it be oil or, you know, even animal fats, then it just lacks something. The flavor just isn't there. Okay, so once you get your tongue all boiled off, you can actually, I would say boiled and skinned. But you can let that sit around in the refrigerator for a couple of days before you actually start cubing all of it up. We just usually don't. Normally we boil it and we serve it that day. So. That's good stuff. Okay, so I'm going to start the process of getting the meat finished off. I'm going to do this in just a small little electric skillet. Sorry, I kind of am a little low right here because down here I've got another skillet and that's heating up so I can heat up our corn tortilla shells. So I'm kind of going to be doing both at the same time. Now, I am not going to do all this meat all at once. I'm going to divide it up to probably do 3 or 4 batches. And in fact, I probably won't do all the meat right now anyway because, well, Sam's not going to eat with us today, and so I might not actually need all that meat. I might just stick it in a Ziploc bag and freeze it. So this pan here I've got on high because I'm going to try to do a little browning action on the meat and caramelize some of the sugars that are still in there. And then the flat top griddle on the stove down there, I've actually got that on a very low heat so I can throw tortillas on there. Hopefully they won't dry up and get crispy on me. Hopefully I have enough shells. I don't want to move it too much. I want it to do some browning, so I'm just kind of, just every so often come back over here and just stir, just every so often. Okay, you see how that got nice and crispy right there? That's what I'm looking for on all these little pieces of meat. Just that nice, dark, crispy stuff. Heck with it, I'm just going to finish it.
You're recording you.
I am recording you.
Why? I'm
seeing
still
how
in
you
pajamas.
Seeing how you make your tacos, man. I don't care about your pajamas. I care about the tacos.
I care about my pajamas because my pajamas suck.
So you go with tongue, the cheese, some lime.
And that's it.
And that's all you're going to do, huh?
And that's all I ever do.
Okay.
I'm taking this like piece with me from today.
There you go, guys. Just like I said, all I like really is the cheese, cilantro, and I squeezed a little bit of lime on there. God, that's good. You know what? Just for you guys, I'm going to change it up a little bit. I'm going to go get some of that homemade salsa. Okay, there you go, guys. Got some of that nice salsa on there. My yellow shells were crumbling apart so bad I had to use 2 of them. That sauce is pretty good. Does add a lot of flavor to it, but it also covers up a lot of the beefy flavor from the tongue. But still good. See, I cleaned my plate. Alright, Sam, so I've been recording you eating that taco. How was it? Now she's all embarrassed.
It was good.